Hi, my name is Pat Brady, and I'm the author of Walk Confidently with God. And I'd like to talk to you about two files that I have on my website that are there to help you with your budgeting process. Before we talk about the files, let's talk about budgeting. The reality is most people are intimidated by budgeting. If you stop someone and say, do you live by budget, do you budget? People say, budget? No. And the reason is it feels like it's something that ties your hand and constrains you. Maybe the best way that I think you can think about it would be is the purpose of a budget is to help you plan how you spend your money. It's not going to dictate it. It's how you plan it. So you're setting goals for yourself. So the cycle of budgeting is threefold, and if you don't do all three steps, you're wasting your time. You might as well not do it. First is you have to have a plan, and then you have to track to see how you're doing on your plan, and then you make adjustments in your how you're spending to make sure you're staying on the plan that you made in the first place. It's no different than if you were going on a journey. If you were taking a trip, a road trip to somewhere you've never been before, you wouldn't just go. You'd have to first you have to know where you are. Then once you know where you are, you have to develop a route to get where you want to be. And then as you're traveling along to get there, you're constantly assessing, am I on the right road to get where I want to be? And if you get lost, if all of a sudden you're not where, you're lost in your process, the single most important first step when you're lost is not figuring out where you want to go, is to figure out where you are. Once you then know where you are, you can make adjustments to get back to where you want to be or where you want to go. Okay, and so that's the same with budgeting. You figure out how you want to spend your money, and then you keep track so you make sure you stay on the right road, and so that you get to the final objective. But if you're not on track with your budget, you have to make adjustments. So you have to, by tracking it, that helps you realize where you are, so that you can adjust to make sure that you stay on track to get where you're going. All right, now you need some tools. In developing the budget, if you did it by hand, what you would get a piece of paper and just list out all the different categories where you're going to spend your money. And in budgeting, it's going to be everywhere. It's not just the debt process. Of course, you have to have your debt down, but you have to anticipate how you're going to spend your money. Now, this shouldn't be done cold. If you have any kind of records at all, you can go back and look at history. I've been using the program Quicken for so many years that I can tell you how I spent my money in 1985. But just knowing how I spent my money in 1985 doesn't mean no good unless I do something with it. Now I can use it to forecast how I'm spending my money. All right. So now on the spreadsheet first is an Excel file that is called I think budget estimate or initial budget. And with that file, first of all, don't be intimidated because it's a spreadsheet if you're not one that does spreadsheets, because it's very straightforward, and I've done all the work for you. Okay, so you open up that file. The one thing you need to have is you have to have Microsoft Excel for this to open up for you. So you open up the Excel file, and step one is to save it onto your computer. And all you have to do is, once you open it up, go to File, Save As, give it a name, and tell it where you want it to be on your hard drive, and you're up and running. Okay, so that's your first step. Then you need to fill it in. And I'm going to show you here just on a piece of paper. It's going to look something like this. It's got nice blue highlights and stuff that I can't take credit for. I simply took a canned template that was available on the Microsoft website, and then I modified all the orders and the entries so that it matches what I've been teaching you in the book. All right, so there are categories, and it is like any budget. The very top part has to be the income, the money that's going into your account, and everything else is what's coming out of your accounts, okay? Or into your family and out away from your family. Okay, so now in the income part, you simply put down if both husband and wife working, his salary, her salary. If there's any other incomes, put them down. Now, it's set up for you to put things down thinking in a monthly basis, because that's how we normally work. We work month to month. but then it will forecast it on a yearly basis. So if you were to put on the first income, put down your net take-home pay, whatever you're taking home on a monthly basis, put that there in this column. And then if you write the number 12 in the next column, say this is over 12 months, it will then automatically tell you the total net income you have for the year. And each time you have any entry, you put down the number of months, because some of your expenses aren't going to be once a month. So you put those in, and it'll calculate what it will be for the year. Right? So that's how you make this work. Right? So it begins with income. The very next section I put in there is what I recommend you, and the way you think about it is your tithe. Now, for me, it is I tithe 10% or more of my gross income, but I also plan some of them. So I've got a few things here that just places that you can write over or whatever you need to do. But like, for instance, for me, I have a fixed amount that I pledge to give to my parish every year. I give to Catholic Charities of Baltimore a certain amount every year. I pledge a certain amount to Spalding High School that I give every year. So there's different charities that I have already planned that I want to give. Now that is never as much as the 10% or more that I will have put aside for the year. So what I'll do is then I put down the fixed pledges, and then I will estimate what my gross income will be that year, and make sure that the balance, the total number, is at minimum that number. I make sure it's that number, and most years it goes over the 10%, never less. Okay, and so then you'd have to put in just your general charity fund that you'll begin to fill out when you track. Okay, now after that, your tithing, then next I would put in your debt structure. Okay, just the debt part. So those are the ones that you're making monthly payments on towards a larger balance. And it's probably good to do it like we did in the other ways, is by do it biggest to smallest. And so you'd start with your mortgage and your car payments or whatever, and list them there. Right, so that's your debt, and then after that, it's just I list a category, your house expenses, your entertainment expenses, and just fill in the blanks. Okay, and then estimate the number. Now, why I encourage you to use this spreadsheet versus just doing it on a piece of paper is it's going to save you time. Because as you begin to fill in the numbers, at the very bottom of the spreadsheet, it's going to give you a running tally of whether you have a plus figure or a minus figure at the end of the month. Okay, so you're going through and saying, okay, so far I'm okay, and but as you go along farther, in some of the other, like you're estimating groceries, you're estimating entertainment items and stuff, if that starts to throw your budget into a negative number, you have to reduce them. So it lets you play with it. It's called what if planning. So what if this is this number? Wonder what the number looks like. Okay, that's okay. We're okay so far. So it makes it much easier to build your budget this way. Okay, so I would recommend, even if you have Quicken and you're planning on using Quicken to monitor your budgeting and use it in the budgeting phase, I still recommend this is your first step, because it's much easier to play what-if games. Okay, so you take that file and you fill it out.